Today we're taking dating advice from an alpha male cowboy named Casey Zander. Now your first question is probably, Max, does this dating advice work? And according to Reddit, it does. If you're looking to attract an emotionally damaged, messed up, narcissistic woman. So if you've always wanted to date estranged mom Diane, you're in luck. Specifically, we're going to be taking a look at a video called Women Leave Men Who Lack Masculine Temperament, Tone, and Demeanor, in parentheses, true high value strength shown. If there is one thing we have learned on this channel, it is to take advice on women from men. The only people who know women better than they know themselves is men. I'm reading the back. In the top right, she needs to look at you and feel protected. She needs to look at you and think, I'm nowhere near as strong as him. One, that doesn't really sound like protection. That sounds like fear. Two, what if you want to date Ria Ripley? I pointed way too early. Hold on. You're telling me you think you're just casually stronger than this woman?
All right, so this is a huge topic that we have to address. Women leave men who lack masculine temperament, masculine tone, and masculine demeanor. And what I'm going to be showing you is what true high value strength looks like. You have to understand that the world has probably convinced you that looks, money, and status is really what you need to become a man's man. And this is the fastest way to falling in the trap of chasing pleasure.
Is this actually going to be good advice? Because that's normally what these people are worried about, right? They're like, oh, I'm not attractive enough. Oh, I don't have enough money. Oh, I'm not high enough in class. That's why women don't like me. And that's when they fall into this dangerous place of like, well, I guess I'm not going to like women back. But if you could get the general public to understand that that really doesn't matter as much as men like to tell other men that it does, then you're going to get somewhere productive. In Mooncat's Manosphere video, she cites multiple studies explaining which parts of these actually do and do not matter to women. And in just Pearly Thing's reaction to that video, Pearl goes, nuh-uh. So that's kind of what I expect from these like alpha male, specifically by men for men, or pick me women like Pearl type of creators. When they talk about these things, they want to say, well, no, men have it hard. You don't understand. It is about status. And if you have money, well, then it's about looks. And if you have looks, well, then it's about money. And if you have money, then it's not enough. Women are just going to cheat on you anyway. The next minute of his video is just him plugging his course on dating. If you want to take a dating class, sure, that has nothing to do with me. I would encourage you to find the type of women you want to date and maybe ask them what they look for in a person. And if you're going to be one of these men that goes, well, I can't ask women that, they're just going to lie to me, women are liars, consider that you just don't want to date women. Consider that putting on a cowboy hat and calling yourself an alpha male can also just be an audition for Brokeback Mountain. There's nothing wrong with that. If women can't fix the lonely male epidemic, then other men should be able to.
Okay, so let's dive into the video. What men were told that women actually love and admire, okay? What men were told that women actually love and want. Men were told that you need to increase your looks, your money, and your status.
By other men specifically.
Now, this may help your attractiveness, but here's what you're going to find. These things, okay, this is what should happen in theory, but this does not always happen in the real world. When you acquire something, okay, like looks, money, or status, these things to acquire probably took a lot of dedication and strength to acquire in the first place. So these things should have given you the arrogant persona.
I also think this advice tends to go to the wrong generation. Like, you're talking to people who have spent a decade acquiring either looks, money, or status, people who are in their mid-30s. But the people who are looking up this advice, learning from it, are young teens and young adults. You have a generation of 16 to 20-year-olds going, I'm an alpha male. How do I get women now? And so they look to other men that they think are alpha males instead of working on themselves or trying to figure out what women want. Some people want to be a man's man but loved by women, and that does not always work. Can it? Absolutely. But you're going to get a very specific type of woman who I don't think is the one that you want to attract if you're one of these people. It comes down to the idea of, oh, I'm a provider. I'm going to make all this money so that I can provide for my woman. But I don't want one that stays at home. She needs to have her own job and her own ability to provide, even though I'm still going to call myself a provider. We need to both work 80 hours a week, and she needs to clean my house.
It should have gave you the internal characteristics and the arrogant persona almost. If you want to even use that word arrogant, call it whatever you want. Call it strong persona, call it, whatever. It should have given you the persona to not tolerate disrespect, but sadly for most men, it doesn't. They are fundamentally still nice guys.
You do not want to be known as a nice guy. It's not nice guy, this person is nice. It's nice guy TM. It is nice guy, the person who tips their fedora and then calls you a whore for not wanting to sleep with them. Every nice guy should have a fedora and one like magic trick they know how to do. Watch me evolve this Wekoko into Crocolore. Did I do it? I don't have a fedora, alright? Also, I just dropped the other card. I like Pokemon. Yeah, I'm a nice guy. I ask her if we're going to sleep together before I decide on whether or not we're splitting the bill.
So here's what you're going to find, okay? The internal strength and attitude of a man matters way more. That's what creates...
Is he going to go through this entire whiteboard? He has better handwriting than I do.
...desire in a woman to keep seeing you, okay? So this is why women will typically do things like maybe they'll cheat on their rich husband with, let's say, a broke guy. Because what she's after that internal strength. She also probably loves his low tolerance for disrespect. And on top of it, she loves his attitude of not needing anyone or not needing anything.
Then this turns into another video where he goes, if you're poor, but you have a low tolerance for BS and you don't need anything, she's going to cheat on you with someone who has money because even though you're the person you're supposed to be, you can't provide her with what she needs. It is a never-ending cycle for these people.
So this is what you have to remember. The guy that she's probably sleeping with doesn't need commitment, doesn't need any kind of emotional reassurance, really doesn't care.
In Mooncat's video, and I'm talking about it a lot because I watched it pretty recently, she talks about how the rate of women cheating is slowly catching up to the rate at which men cheat as well. People, when given a chance to cheat and are unhappy, might do it. Historically, it's been mostly men that do that. Women are catching up, but it's still mostly men. It's also a little funny to me that we're coaching men on why women cheat when the men you're coaching probably have not been able to get a woman into a relationship and therefore can't usually be cheated on. I think it just comes down to any advice from men about women should really just be listened to women, or here's my personal experience and something that actually happened. Not all women are like this. Women are like this. Learn from me about women. You can absolutely give men advice on how to become better people and how to work on their emotional sides and doing stuff like that. But when you cross into like, this is how women think, I really do think it should just come from women. If it were the opposite, men would be very fast to be like, no, they were wrong. This is actually what we want. It's like those Twitter threads where people are just like, when men say they're not thinking about anything, what are they actually thinking about? And it's a bunch of men in the replies going, I promise you, we're not thinking about anything. I'm thinking about whether or not I can remember how many points Kobe scored in every quarter in the 81-point game.
A new day is a new day. The sun comes up, the sun goes down, and that's about it. And that's what she's repetitively coming back to because she feels that strength and that indifference. Now, let's move on to this column right here. These are the behaviors of weak and low value behavior. Okay, so this right here in this column, this is weak and this is low value behavior. Let me give you some examples. Text messaging too much or messaging on a bunch of different apps.
I'm an overtexter with my girlfriend specifically. With everyone else, I usually forget to respond.
Over communicating for literally no reason. Okay? Wanting to make plans and set dates.
What?
This is another huge one. Guys tell themselves, oh, I'm going to be a good leader and I'm going to make all these plans and set all these dates.
You should do that because if you put the stress of always having to be the person that plans things on your partner, that is such a common reason for people to break up. Or when you try to be spontaneous, but you can't because they have a set schedule and now you're fighting about it. You should, as a person, in all of your relationships that you want to maintain, be able to set and plan dates.
All that shows is you don't have a lot of purpose or anything else to do than just spend your time in leisure. That's going to probably...
No, it shows that you're going to make time for someone. Hey, I'm not available Monday through Saturday. On Sunday at 3 p.m., can we do this? Isn't you being overly available, it's you making a plan? Am I wrong there?
decrease attraction. Another thing, acting like you need someone to talk to, which shows that you need companionship. If she sees that you need to talk to somebody all day.
This is very quickly turned to advice from men who talk a lot to women who don't like them. We've all been in this situation where someone is contacting us a lot more than we want to be contacted by them. Not because they're a bad person, Not because they're generally annoying, but because we just don't want it. The only person I want to talk to throughout the entire day is my partner. Besides that, I'm a big if you need me, let me know kind of person, but I don't really want to just talk all day. But if I like you enough, if I love you, I'm more than happy to be around you all of the time. There are plenty of people who need a lot more space than I do, and I understand that. But with the person that I love, I don't want any space at all. So if you wanting to talk to someone bothers them, that person doesn't like you. And instead of trying to pursue a relationship with them, move on. If when you're talking to someone throughout the day, they go, hey, maybe talk to other people, that person probably does not want to talk to you that much. Or you need to go to therapy, depending on what it is you're saying.
Cell phone isn't, why don't you call your mom or your dad? Like, you have to remember, the cell phone
Some of us don't have parents, all right?
isn't real communication. It's a screen. Real communication is when you're on a date with the woman face to face.
This is also a big alpha male talking point that I've noticed is that they don't want to text or call. They want to be together face to face. And I don't know if it's because they think that's the only way that communication is actually real, or because they're convinced that like, oh, I'm just a bad texter. Oh, I'm not like good at like flirting over the phone. Like people don't like me until we're in person. I'm pretty unlikable as a person, especially in the way that I message random people. You can tell that I want like an end to our conversation. And in person, I'm a little different. But when talking to like romantic partners, you can't be flirty over the phone. You can't make a joke. You can't make someone laugh. You can't make someone want to keep texting you. Like that seems like something that you can teach people instead of just being like, forget about that, make it happen in person. Yeah, you should work towards like a date in person that you've planned. We got there. But that doesn't mean you can't text or call in between that. You should want to, right? If you have somebody that you want to be around and with, you should want to be talking to them. Maybe not while you're busy or at work, but casually. Hey, thinking of you all the time. Hey, made your playlist.
So here's the biggest thing I want you to realize. This is what you should notice. Everything that I just told you right here, texting too much, over communicating, wanting to make plans and see her and set dates, acting like you need someone to talk to, which shows that you need companionship. So guess what? Here's what you're going to notice. You can literally make these mistakes, okay, at any age, no matter how tall you are, doesn't matter how many followers you have, or at any income level. I don't care if you make 50 grand a year or 500 grand a year or 5 million a year. It literally doesn't matter, because all of these things are about internal value. You can make these mistakes at any age or any income level or any status level. The second that a famous dude all of a sudden starts over communicating and text messaging too much and acting like that guy needs someone to talk to, now it's going to signal weak behavior too.
I feel like when they say they don't want to over communicate, it comes down to if you give them enough space, enough time, enough words to use, are they going to say something that is going to push you away? Are they going to say something to you that is going to give you the ick if you allow them to talk long enough? And I think that, yes, I think that's probably the problem that they're trying to avoid. And so they want to go, let's skip all this communication here and let's just meet in person. I promise I have fewer red flags in person. And I think to fix that, it would be better to teach men how to speak to women, people in general, and not just to avoid over communicating so that they don't out themselves.
So the good news for you is if you have been constantly chasing these external things thinking that it's going to bring you fulfillment, it will never make up for the lack of masculinity characteristics that you're going to need. So the good news for you is you can focus on other things. How amazing is that? I want that to feel like it almost takes some pressure off of you. If you feel like you're behind in life, or if you feel like you need to accomplish all this stuff, that can really help take some pressure off of you. Okay? So looks, money, and status does not make up for internal masculine temperament or lack thereof.
I had a wrestling coach a long time ago who said to me, when someone gives you advice, just listen. There are plenty of people in this world who have gotten really good advice from really smart people who may not understand it themselves but are able to relay it. So when someone gives you advice, shut up, listen, then afterwards figure out whether or not it's good advice. Throughout all this, he's going to sprinkle in that looks, money, status do not make up for the internal parts of you sucking. And that's true. And I hope that these people, these young men who are looking for advice on women, if they watch these videos, that they take that away from it. It's not about the way you look. It's not about the money that you have. It's not about your social status. It is about the person that you are, the person that you can communicate as, and the person that you want to be. You're probably 20, trying to meet other 20-year-olds. Neither of you are going to be successful anytime soon. You're going to waste your 30s trying to make money. Why not spend your 20s trying to become someone you'd like to be? I think we all want to be the 20-year-old who is immediately successful in whatever they do. And most of us think about that in terms of money. Most of the people that I've met who are making good money, and I'm going to take it away from social media because I know too many YouTubers, but most of the people that I know in real life who are making actual money didn't start making good money until they were in their 30s. So chill, mess up in your 20s, figure out who it is you are, try to date as many people as possible and figure out what you love.
Now, moving on to this column right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you actually fix the root issue, okay? The root issue, the root problem. Like if we go and we think of the root problem, not just the surface level problems, we want to go all the way to the root, okay?
He's like trying to fill up a word count.
Because this cannot be made up for with more tattoos or a new necklace or a fancy watch. You can't make up for the things that I'm about to tell you with anything on the external. You can't do it. Okay, so we're going to fix the root issue right here. This is what you have to do. This is 6 points that you should start to incorporate into your own life. Number 1, your yes means yes, and number 2, your no means no.
Before he gets into that, that is just generally good advice for being a person. When you say yes to someone, you should mean yes and you should commit to it. When you say no, you should set your boundaries and stand firm. There are plenty of times when things are going to come up, like anytime there's a convention, TwitchCon or PAX, and I see a bunch of people get together, they always make too many plans and it doesn't work out. And that's stuff that you can't blame people for because people don't know how to work their time. But if you set a date with someone and you say, I'm going to be there at this time, your yes has to mean yes. Or if someone asks you for something that you're uncomfortable with and you say no, your no has to mean no. Inversely, when someone says yes, I hope that you are able to hold them to that standard. And when someone says no to you, I hope you're able to hold yourself to understanding that and nodding your head. Whatever it is. Hey, can we? Nope. Okay, no means no.
That means you have to learn how to say things as a complete sentence without over-explaining yourself. Okay? You need to give complete answers. You need to be okay with that without needing to over-communicate. Number 3,
I need an example of that because I don't know what this man is trying to say.
you need to speak less. The more you speak in general, the more you reveal your interest level.
No, I think the problem with these people is the more they speak, the more they out themselves, right? It's like those spontaneous dates I keep getting on my TikTok FYP where like you have 2 women interviewing 2 men, complete strangers off the street, and you have a host that's like, all right, let's ask the women a question. All right, women, you get a chance to ask the men a question. And it's been 20 minutes of small talk. And the women eventually go, who did you vote for? And almost every time the men go, oh, yeah, this is, I'll just leave. So if the problem is, if I let you talk too much, you are going to reveal that you voted against the interests of women. The problem isn't that you talk too much. The problem is that you're hiding things, and I'm going to get there eventually.
The more you reveal your interest level, the less she likes you. There's literally no point in trying to do all of this communication. All these guys...
If the more you reveal your interest level, the less somebody likes you, that person doesn't like you, and you're probably not going to change that. You should move on. Hey, I like you. Oh, damn, I liked you, but now finding out that you liked me, I don't like you anymore. Does that seem realistic? Personally, I'm a big fan of just sharing your feelings. If you like someone, tell them. And if they like you back, they'll tell you. And if they don't, great, now you know. Now you know. Now you know. Now you know. And you can move on. But I'm not going to tell you I like you because then you're not going to like me. It's just so, where does that come from? Can we get into the conversation of being overbearing or love bombing? Yeah, absolutely. But those are not the same thing as being overcommunicative.
All these guys trying to use so much charisma and charm and all of this.
If you're not charismatic and you're not charming, you should work on it instead of trying to fake it.
starts to decrease his value because of how easily he's giving away his attention and his time. Okay? So you need to speak less.
Men, you need to be less available, because if you are available for women, they're going to learn that they don't like you. It's just not the point you're trying to make, bro. Also, let's say this works. Let's say you make yourself so unavailable that someone's into you. What then? When you start dating, you still have to be unavailable. So you see them once a week?
Number 4, you need to speak slower. Okay, when you speak slower, it comes across like you're very grounded and secure. Like you're grounded in who you are and you're secure. It makes you seem like you're not anxious. Well, if you're not anxious and you're not nervous, that's going to signal real confidence. You will notice the faster you start to speak, the more you start to say, the more her attention drifts away from you.
This is just telling people not to be nervous, which is really great in theory, but you have a bunch of people who are inexperienced in what they're getting into and are going to be nervous.
That's what you're going to notice. So you need to speak slower.
Okay, but if you're going to say that, you have to be careful, and you have to say, don't speak too slow, because you don't want her to think you think she's stupid. I'm gonna talk to you like this so you understand me. Otherwise, you won't get it. You don't get how hard it is to be a crypto bro, dude. I bought Bitcoin back in 2022.
It also shows that you're not in a rush, right? It shows that you're not in a rush to get to this date or this, venue or this location, or rush to get into a relationship, or rush to go get married. Or it shows like you're actually okay with who you are, which creates an environment where she wants to see where this goes, because it doesn't feel like you have any kind of expectation. Okay, that's very important. So you need to speak slower. Number 5, you need to show that you don't need any added communication.
If what you're saying is you need to be able to be comfortable with the level of communication they're willing to provide, then sure. But what if they're overcommunicative? What if they want to talk all of the time?
Like, just think about that for a second. Every single time a woman messages you or calls you, or anybody for that matter, even your friends or your family, every time someone is trying to talk to you, there is some underlying expectation of a reply.
Yes, when someone reaches out to you, they probably want you to reach back.
Really deal with anything. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Like, communication is great, and we all need to talk to some people sometimes, obviously, but you need to show you don't necessarily need anybody. This is going to really help. My final point right down here, okay, never say 10 words if 5 words will do the job for you.
Why waste time? Say lot word when few word do trick.
Congrats, you're now Kevin from The Office.
Always remember that. Never say 10 words, never say 15 words if 4 or 5 words would have done the job for you.
I'm going to be so honest. From someone whose primary friend group is mostly women, if I start messaging them, okay, fine. Yep, that's fine. If I start sending these tiny, tiny short messages that get my point across, but that's it, people are going to think I'm mad at them. And the other way around, if you were sending these women like, hey, can we do this? And they go, sure, okay, whatever. Okay, period. You'd probably think they didn't like you. So get your point across, sure, but be a person about it. What matters when you speak is how you, specifically you as a person, would say what it is that's being said. Are you the person that says yes? Or are you the person that says I would love to? I respond better and I get better responses when I say things like I would love to. That sounds great. Fantastic. And not just yes. Okay, fine.
When you speak less, it shows that you don't need to overqualify yourself. So now let's move on to this column. This is where men go wrong, okay? They claim that they self-improve, or they claim that they're working on themselves, but the problem is they are still fundamentally nice guys.
I wonder what he means by nice guys. Because I don't think he means nice guy TM, right? Like the fedora tipping, angry at women incel type. But I don't think he means nice guy like a guy who's actually nice.
Like, the core of him is still too nice and too friendly. So your main problems...
Women, is it a problem when men are friendly towards you? Do you hate when guys like you? Damn.
are going to be listed right here. Number 1, you are probably attached to your cell phone, needing to talk to somebody. This is not good.
Actually, I'm attached to my cell phone doing chess puzzles. I'm 2600 rated in chess puzzles, alright? What do you want me to do about that? This is how I spend a lot of my time.
You think that a cell phone is real when in reality, it is a communication barrier. Let me give you an example. Real communication is if somebody is right in front of you and you have a real conversation with them.
Real communication is any time you can talk to someone else that allows you two to either learn more about each other or feel like you're getting closer. Whether that happens over text, over the phone, or in person, it is real. Lee and I met in person before we ever thought about dating each other. I love being with her in person. I prefer to be with her in person, and I will be with her in person soon again. But are we just discounting all the communication that happens in between them? Are we discounting the FaceTimes, the calls, the texts, everything else, just because it's not in person? You are unfortunately giving advice to a bunch of young men who are spending most of their time on the internet. They're most likely going to find someone on the internet, whether that's on Tinder, Match.com, OkCupid, Roblox, Twitter, unfortunately Twitch. It's probably going to happen online. It is 2025. I know more people who have met each other online and had successful relationships than I know people who are with someone they grew up alongside or met in their hometown or at school. And that's just how we've progressed. So instead of saying communication that isn't in person isn't real communication, teach people how to talk to each other over the phone, in text, in whatever type of messages, in a meaningful way that grows people together. Are they different? Absolutely. Talking to someone on the phone is entirely different than talking to them in person. But does one mean a lot less? I don't think so.
Anything on a screen is on a screen. So keep that in mind. You are
He is going to fall in love with an AI one day, and I'm going to come back to this video.
sitting there waiting for these notifications, acting like that actually means somebody's talking to you, when in reality, nobody is actually like in front of you having a conversation. So you need to detach from this.
You're just going to force a ton of young men to be lonely if they go, haha, we match. Now meet with me in person, meet with me in person, meet with me in person, meet with me in person. You need to teach men, and men need to learn how to communicate. Period. That means over text, over the phone, all these different ways that then lead to in person.
And then another thing you have to realize is like, you probably assume, okay, that you communicating gives you a chance. You probably assume that you communicating with her gives you a chance at a relationship or gives you a chance at going on that date, when in reality, this is what happens. In reality, she communicates with the guy who's busy doing things, who probably cannot communicate all the time because he has a life outside of her. So this has nothing to do even with, going and getting a
It must suck to live your entire life in a way that says, the people that want me only want me because the people that want them are busy.
bunch of options. This is literally about like, how do you actually set up your life as a man in the first place so you have something to do? This is really important to realize, okay?
You should have something to do. Have your job, have your hobby, have your things you like to do, and then communicate with the person that you like while doing those things. The goal of life cannot be to be so busy that you don't have time to love someone. The goal of life cannot be to be so busy you don't have time to find things and people to love. The goal of life cannot be, I'm too busy to communicate. That's going to make people want me. The last time I was at Lee's house, when I was still recording videos while I was there, I would record in the morning and then I would edit in the afternoon. And if I was still editing when she got home from work, she would sit behind me and just hang out with me. The goal of life should be to go and get what it is that you want. And if what you want is to love and be loved, then the goal of life cannot be to be too busy to do so.
And then over here, these are the things I want to talk about right here. She needs to look at you and she needs to feel protected. She has to feel protected. Like, she has to look at you. Okay, she needs to look at you and think, okay, I am nowhere near as strong as this guy emotionally. Okay. He doesn't feel the
Emotionally, I'm nowhere near as strong as the guy who's afraid of communication.
need to qualify himself. He doesn't feel the need to over-explain himself. He must have really high value, okay? He doesn't feel the need to engage in behavior or communication just to appease me. He clearly appears like
He doesn't like talking to me, and so he's not going to do it just because I want to talk to him.
he doesn't necessarily need love. He appears like he could like be okay alone. He could sit there all by himself and hang out, and do whatever he wants for a week.
A week is a week, but to be a person who doesn't need love is to either lie or to just not be here. It's fine if you don't need love, if you don't want love, but then why are you taking an alpha male dating course?
Or a few days and not really need anybody. And then she goes, okay, he's inwardly focused. He's inwardly focused on himself, his own goals, and what he's doing. He's inwardly focused on his own life. And then she goes, okay, this is a man that I want to be with. So this is what I'm telling you. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how good looking you are. I don't care how much status you have. These things might get your foot in the door to have a date, but this has nothing to do with like the internal strength of a man. And women leave men who lack masculine temperament, masculine tone, and masculine demeanor. And what I just showed you on this marker board is what true high value strength and masculine persona actually looks like.
I really don't think you're going to convince me that true masculine strength is an inability to communicate, an unwantingness to love. You're trying to bring men back to being stoic and unfazed by the world, when the reason that these videos exist is because so many men are lonely, and your solution is to tell them to just not be, because that's what's going to attract someone, is to not feel these things. And if you do feel lonely, don't communicate it, because now you're over communicating. And if you do want to be loved, don't communicate it. Don't show that you need a companion. You shouldn't need companionship. But the reason you're watching these videos is because you want it. And want and need are not so far apart. There are too many hours of free content on YouTube for you to consume. Before you waste your money on an alpha male dating coach, on an alpha male dating coach's course, or anything to do with these people, consider going through the side of YouTube where women tell you what they want and maybe believing them. This video is like a lot of other alpha male dating type videos we've seen, except it did get a little interesting when he said, you don't need to be rich, you don't need to be good looking, but you do need to be able to not communicate. You do need to be able to not want love. You do need to be essentially not a person anymore. And I don't know how that makes sense. I really don't. I don't know how to tell people the way to get what you want is to not want it. The way to show that you have a lot of emotional strength is to put all of the emotional burden of your relationship on the other person. Does that not sound like bad advice? He also has a video on hypergamy, which we will get into at some point, but I'm going to call it there. Yay, I love alpha male dating advice. I love when men who obviously do not like women tell me how to find love from a woman. Again, brother, if you don't like women, that's dope. There are plenty of you out there. But I'm going to call it there. I'm going to let you go. Thank you for spending time with me. This is my favorite thing to do. You're my favorite people to do it with. If I sound sick, it's because I've been sick for the last 3 days, which is why I've not been posting at all. But you can say goodbye to Toast. Okay, goodbye.